Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and on today's episode of Project Miata, the answer, yeah, we're gonna put a stop to things. Let's get started. Now, first I want to give a shout out and thanks to Track Prep Performance. Check them out. They helped me get these rotors and the upgrade really fast. I was really impressed at how quick I was able to get these things. But a little bit of story time first. So I was working on my wife's car and needed to go grab a tool. So I went in the Miata and my brake light was on the dashboard. And I thought, okay, maybe my e-brake was, give it a jiggle and turns off. No, my pedals started to get really soft. Thankfully, the local hardware stores nearby got home. And after I was done with my wife's car, I put this guy in and my brake fluid was completely low. So went ahead, filled it up, and I put pressure, and all of a sudden, I still wasn't getting pressure. I come out and I had a massive spill on the passenger rear. So I decided, cool, let's go ahead and upgrade the brakes, because I had a gentleman on a Facebook group that was giving away his sports brakes. So my model is a base model, so I do have smaller brakes, smaller discs, smaller calipers. So there was an upgrade for the sports brakes, which are a little bit bigger and significantly better, I would say. And yeah, that's what we're doing. So we literally had a bucket of parts, which are no longer that much of a bucket because I already did this side, and we'll get tackling the driver's side with everything. But just want to give you guys a comparison. So these are the fronts, and you can see that the fronts, it's a little hard with perspective, but the fronts are actually a little bit bigger than the standard ones. So let me see if I can maybe get them back to back. That's a better comparison. Yeah, so there is a little bit on the sides. They're just an overall better braking system. And yeah, the team over at Track Prep Performance said, yeah, let's just go with blanks. No cross-drilled or slotted, because you're going to be doing daily driving and you're not really going to put too much abuse on them. Maybe some track days, but those should be significant, especially when this guy doesn't weigh much. Now, the big upgrade is definitely on the rear. You can see that the rear is a significant upgrade on there. Yeah, which means we have to modify the brake system. Yes, so there is a dust cover that is literally just a little over this, and we're going to need to cut that. The brake pieces themselves, the calipers, are a little bit different how they mount on the front, so we'll take a look at that. And yeah, let's go ahead, get this guy up in the air and get started. Now we took off the rear wheel and we take a look at the brakes. So the first thing you're going to want to do is remove the emergency brake line, and it is like a little T. I'll probably do it off camera, but it's that little guy. You just have to kind of push it over and just turn it. You can undo the handbrake in the inside. There's a little screw, but you'll want to go ahead and to release the tension, and basically you'll just push that up and twist it so it can come out there. That's the first thing. And then you'll want to relieve the pressure off of the line itself, and this is the bolt you're gonna do. Careful with this, it's gonna start spilling. It's also going to that brake fluid will eat paint. Thankfully my floor hasn't been finished yet, but yeah, especially when I had that massive spill on the passenger side. And yeah, we'll be changing these guys as well. And yeah, essentially get that off. And then there's going to be there's going to be this guy there. I don't know if you guys can see it, hopefully, but it is I believe a 10 on there. I will be updating that, but yeah, basically get that guy off, and then this caliper assembly is going to go up. So it's going to pivot off of this one, and that should get you, oh no. So, sorry, forgot. There is a screw back here, and it's this one. Right? Yes, this one. And then there's going to be a 4mm Allen in there that you're going to want to turn counterclockwise. So, counterclockwise, so that way the piston goes in. That way the piston goes into the caliper, and this becomes loose. It might already be loose just because it's got no fluid. We've kind of drained all the fluid out from working on the other side, but that should be it. Let's go get that started. I first removed the banjo bolt for the brake line, and I put the line inside of that water bottle just to make sure I don't spill any remaining brake fluid. And the next thing you're going to want to do is grab some wrenches and go ahead and undo the brake line for the emergency brake. You'll then undo the bolt that holds the caliper right there. Now, don't worry, it's not going to come out all the way. Next, you'll undo the bolt that's in the back where I told you that you're going to have to use an Allen key. So just a matter of putting the Allen key in there. And like I mentioned, you want to do it counterclockwise. That way the piston goes into the caliper and it's easy to take out. Now, this is going to make things easier for you to see, but basically the caliper is in like that. And that is the, there you go, 4mm Allen that you need to kind of undo counterclockwise so that the caliper goes in, and then you'll do it clockwise to take it out when you adjust for the brake pads. Now, that is a pain. I had a 4mm Allen key, but it was slightly stripped, so it didn't work. So I had to kind of come up with this setup. It works. So it's just a little Allen key on that, and with a ratchet thing there. So yeah, basically this is the old caliper, and this is going to be the new caliper, or the new-ish, new to me caliper. And yeah, it's basically the same thing. We are going to have to take those off, and there's some bolts back there that hold the carrier because these are a different size. So let's get to that. When you upgrade from base brakes to sports brakes, you are going to need the sports brakes carrier. So make sure if you buy them from someone, or if you decide to put the kit together, that you also get the carrier as well. Now that we've taken out the caliper, I want to show you guys where my other one was leaking. When I had my wife in the car and I had her pull the emergency brake, which is that guy, which is for this, and it was leaking from there. Once she hit the brakes, it really showed with a bunch of fluid coming out. But yeah, thankfully we have new calipers to get this replaced. Now, to give you a comparison, this is the standard brakes, and when we take this off, let's go ahead and put on the others, and you can see that is the dilemma you will have if you're going from base or standard brakes to the sports brakes. So yeah, they won't go, and it's gonna be rubbing. So what we need to actually do, take that off, and we are going to be cutting this little lip. So just about that thickness, that's really all we need. Just kind of go all around for the back and in the front. I'll show you guys. It's a little bit different, not as much as a continuous kind of thing, but we still have to cut some from there. So let's go ahead and get this guy cutting. Well, of course, the cool part doesn't decide to record on my GoPro, but basically you can see what I did was just cut around this little lip that was basically going around. This was what I had for cutting. Decided to get the Dremel metal cutting wheels. These little things are pretty impressive. They're not your typical ones that you get like in a multi-kit or something like that. you're definitely going to want to get these. I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, they were really good at getting the the metal basically cut. I still have a little bit of cleanup that I'll do right now, and then we basically just put the disc on, and we can see it rotates, and it's not catching on anything there, so we are good. Before you bolt on the new carriers, make sure you put the disc on and not make the mistake that I did where I put the carrier first and then I tried to put the disc in, which was not going to happen. Then you'll go ahead and tighten the bolts in the back and then torque them to spec. When you install the caliper, you're going to want to put some brake and caliper grease. That way you don't get any squeaking, any noises that may be unpleasant. Now I went ahead and I bought that little container because I figured I'm gonna do 4, and it's a lot easier to just brush it on like that than having those little packets that are always annoying to kind of try to spread. So you'll want to apply it there, and then we'll also apply some to the back of the brake pads. With the added thickness of the new pads, you're going to want to push the piston into the caliper as much as possible so that when you install the caliper, it's a lot easier and you won't have to put too much effort into it. So we've gone ahead and we've put the caliper on, and again, we put a little bit of grease there and a little bit of grease on that and on that item there and on this here. So just have to go ahead and screw this guy in, and then cover this up, and we're gonna put stainless steel lines. So there is a little clip there. You'll see it with your screwdriver. You'll be able to take it out and then put the other line in. For the rear driver side, you're going to want to leave the clip on actually, and you'll undo that. That's going to be a 10 millimeter. So just undo that. It's going to help to have the clip in. Take it out. Some fluid may drop, so just be ready for it. This is actually the furthest point from the reservoir, meaning that when you're going to bleed your brakes, this is where you need to start, because it actually goes from the front to front driver's wheel, then front passenger's wheel, and then rear passenger wheel, and then a line comes from over there to this here on the driver's side. So we'll go ahead and take that out. So now this is the stainless line, and yeah, it'll just go in there. You tighten it, you put the clip on, and you are good to go. Now this is going to be a little tricky, and actually not tricky, but just important. So with this, you can see there is only the actual line. With the factory one, there is a little nub that goes right in here. It's a little nub that goes right in here, and what that does is makes sure that the line is out of the way. So what I do have to do is turn it to make sure that the line is correctly facing, so that way it's not in the way. Now, there is wrong. You don't want it to do that, because your wheel, think of it, your wheel is going to be here, and it's going to be spinning and doing that. It should technically be here, like this, which obviously I'm going to loosen this up to readjust for it. But that is very important, that you want the line to be tucked in so you don't have the issue with a line getting hit by a tire. So yeah, important detail. Make sure you pay attention before you change your factory lines in the direction that they're going, and you're going to want to mimic that. Now that I've gone ahead and readjusted the line, we're going to put the screw on. So it's important you have 2 washers per screw. So you do that. So one on there, you put the line on, and then you put the other washer. These are crush washers. Make sure that you put these, and then you just tighten up. Now you can see how my line is going away from the area. So to make sure that you don't cut it with the tire or your wheel. And yeah, just go ahead and you tighten that up, and then just gonna torque everything to specs. But that pretty much wraps up your brakes. On the other side of the brakes, it's a little bit different. So you'll have this block that is basically, one is feeding the actually one is in, and the other one is going to be out to the, there you go. And then the other one is going to be out to basically this line. And then that's just going to be the mounting point on there. So we'll get this guy going as well. Now the fronts are going to be a little bit different. It's actually a lot easier. And with the base model compared to the sport model, there was a little bit of a discrepancy with the bolts. So if you take a look, the carrier, or the caliper carrier, it's just one bolt. So it's just one long bolt that goes from here all the way through, and it catches that. Well, actually it just catches it from here, but the actual bolt goes through. With these, with the sports, it's a little bit different. It's two parts. It's actually, so the carrier is there, actually like this. The carrier is there, and it's a small screw. So there's a long bolt, but there's a small screw that just goes right in there. That was a huge thing that I was a little confused by, comparing the basically how to put it back together compared to the base model. So with, and I call them base, but it's standard brakes. So just a matter of taking this off the line, and yeah, then basically just really simple. Now I am gonna have to trim a little bit on this one. I believe was just right here from that. We'll take a look at it once we put the base, once we put the sports brakes on, to see the difference in that. So I'm a little winded. It's just, it's a lot of force I'm having to put, car going up and down and things like that. But yeah, it should be fairly easy to get going. We'll start off with the banjo bolt for the brake line. Just be careful with any spilled brake fluid. Make sure you clean it immediately so it doesn't eat up at any paint. Then it's just a matter of taking off the bolt for the brake caliper that go to the carrier, and then the carrier itself. Okay, we're on the long stretch home. I'm kind of tired from this project. It's a lot of little things. So yeah, just a matter of taking this guy out. Sorry. And put this guy in. So we will line those up. Sorry, it's a little tough with one hand. And yeah, you see that? We got a cut there. We got a cut under there too. And I think that's it. Yeah, so let's take this off, and I will tell you where we need to cut. So we'll be cutting, actually I think I just bent this back on the other one. So we'll take a look, but I'll just probably just cut that there. And here we need to cut just right, just kind of this whole thing here. So yeah, let's start the fun. Hopefully my GoPro decides to record so you guys can see the cool sparks, because everyone loves sparks. There you have it. So you can see, just needed that tiny little lip was all that was hitting there, and down here the lip that we were doing. I'll go ahead and just kind of clean this up a little bit. But yeah, you're gonna have to do that just because, again, the disc is bigger and this dust shield will get in the way. And now it's just a matter of getting everything back together with the new stuff. So we have the carrier here, and we'll go ahead and put that guy in, and we will bolt it up. Now that we've gone ahead and put the caliper on, well, the pads actually, we'll just go ahead and dab this a little bit with some grease. And we'll also do the back of the other pad, and then we should be able to just put that guy back on there. Once the pads are on, then it's just a matter of putting the caliper in position and tightening up the bolts to spec. Then we tackled the brake line for the front, and it's just a matter of undoing the hard line at the top, then pulling that clip, and then just a matter of pulling the softer rubber line. Then it's just a matter of literally doing the opposite, putting the hard line on, then putting the clip on, and then tightening it up at the top. Well, there you have it, guys. We have the front brakes done, ready to the other side. But yeah, so again, for the front, you just got to cut a little bit of that lip there. The carriers are a little bit different with the bolts, as if you're going from a base model to sport brakes. And yeah, we have our stainless steel line. Again, because the stainless steel don't have the little like nub that you have to run the line safely, make sure you guys do run the line safely. So just imagine a wheel here, it would be out of the way there, as opposed to if this swung out to the right and then like that, it would definitely start to cut into the line. And we don't want that, because I already felt what having less brakes felt like. So hopefully this goes to the complete opposite and we get that this guy stopped. Well, yeah, I'm exhausted, but I do want to thank the team over at Track Prep Performance for all the parts, minus the brake calipers. Basically they gave me the discs because we needed the disc, we needed pads. And we went with these because, again, I'm going to be doing some light track autocrossing, but it's going to be more of a daily. I've had very aggressive like track pads, and it was a pain to get them to bite. I always had to literally left foot brake to warm them up so that in case of an emergency, I can brake, not with the Miata, but with my previous car. So I'm kind of glad we're going a little bit more a little bit less aggressive actually with this setup. Worst case, I can always upgrade, but daily driving, this is going to be great. But yeah, guys, go check out Track Prep Performance. They got me set up with what I needed to get this brake job done. And remember, find the right gear. See ya.